Speaking. What night are you speaking? Are you speaking tonight? Or no? Hey, you're not. If you took that stage, you would get booed off of it. You would get booed off the stage.
That was Florida Congressman Matt Gaetz confronting former Speaker of the House Kevin McCarthy at the Republican National Convention in July. The firebrand Republican was successful in toppling McCarthy last year. Now he's got his eyes set on winning his primary against Navy veteran Aaron Dimmick, who McCarthy has endorsed.
Gaetz, who sits in a ruby red seat in Northwest Florida, will likely cruise to victory in the primary and win re-election in November. There have been whispers he might make a gubernatorial run down the line, but Gaetz's aspirations might be thwarted by several factors. For instance, he's still under investigation by the House Ethics Committee for alleged sexual misconduct and illicit drug use, accepting improper gifts, and attempting to obstruct government investigations of his conduct. And he's proven to be a thorn on the GOP caucus's side by orchestrating McCarthy's ouster and putting an already razor-thin Republican majority on the line. Former President Donald Trump has endorsed Gaetz in the race, which is turning out to be one of the costliest congressional races in the Sunshine State this cycle. Per Ad Impact, both Gaetz and his opponents have shelled out over $5.1 million so far. Currently, 538 polling shows Gaetz walloping Dimmick by 47 points. Gaetz is polling at 67% compared to Dimmick's 20%.
Yeah, there's no chance that Matt Gaetz loses here. He is going to be reelected. And he takes the position that, you know, he is trying to put forth, this is in Matt Gaetz's telling from his perspective, he's been working to fight for things conservatives want, the MAGA base of the Republican Party wants, and that has put him at odds with leadership, and so that they have investigated him for things that he says are illegitimate. For instance, he's really pushed the congressional stock trading ban, and he claims that that has put him in a contentious relationship with many of his colleagues, more establishment Republicans who want to continue doing stock trading, and of course there's Democrats who want to continue doing stock trading, and that's why he's had this bad relationship with leadership. Now, I know people, including, you know, for instance, Representative Thomas Massie on the Republican side, who was in support of getting rid of McCarthy, but has said that the new speaker is not really an improvement, and it was basically a waste of effort, and it did come down a little bit to personality, and so it hasn't actually helped matters. But yes, the rivalry, the enmity between Matt Gaetz and Kevin McCarthy goes back to Kevin McCarthy allowing an investigation into these ethical accusations against Gaetz.
Right. Now, McCarthy's endorsed Dimmick, the opponent, retired Navy pilot, a PAC
no chance of winning.
That is, a PAC that's aligned with McCarthy. The Freedom Allies PAC is running ads about this alleged misconduct. There are Venmo transactions that are allegedly payments for sexual activities. Of course, he was under investigation from the DOJ about having sex with a 17-year-old, with a minor. That investigation resulted in them withdrawing the lawsuit.
Yeah, that was, I'm not sure, I want to be careful with what the details of that were, because it had to do with, like, it was being rounded up to sex trafficking by people who were looking into it, because he traveled with, I think, a 17-year-old on a plane, like across state lines.
Yeah.
I don't know that it was proven or demonstrated that they had a sexual relationship. The whole thing seemed a little fishy to me. And there was this whole plot line with that he was being blackmailed essentially by this other donor guy. It was all very strange. It was certainly worth looking into, but I do think there were incendiary anti-Matt Gaetz headlines from the mainstream media because they don't like him, and actually a lot of Republicans don't like him either, because he's actually fighting for things that supporters of Donald Trump want to happen. So I don't know.
Right, yeah. I think that, it's tricky when you have people who are very powerful have people make claims against them and then withdraw those lawsuits. We've seen this happen time and again, and there's some kind of settlement that happens. We've seen this happen with the royal family, people involved with Jeffrey Epstein, where they receive a sum of money and then they're quiet. I think, Gaetz would be very smart to not intervene with any of these investigations. Of course, if anything were to come of them, that would be the time he's vulnerable in a primary. If he's found guilty of misconduct in any of these, and there's substantial evidence that he did either have sex with a minor or pay people for sex.
I mean, it was not, again, and I've pulled it up now, it was, a 17-year-old is not a minor depending on what state you're in, so the problem was that they were on a flight together. But the Justice Department ended the sex trafficking investigation. They did not charge him with any crimes. And part of it was information given to them by this Joel Greenberg fellow, who is a former associate of Gaetz, who pleaded guilty to sex trafficking and all sorts of other stuff. And it looked like a whole kind of blackmailing deal.
Yeah, there were multiple cases that had to do with this, and the Venmo transactions and all of these things that are being reviewed by Congress. That's what's in the ethics, hearing. The ethics committee is reviewing all of that. I think it's possible that McCarthy's faction of the Republican Party, if they keep running these kinds of attack ads, I think they could have an effect. We've seen attack ads be effective before. $3 million goes a long way, and that's how much this McCarthy-aligned PAC has given, and that's what they're spending it on. So, it could hurt his image. It could bring more awareness to this investigation that he sort of brushes off whenever he's asked about it. So I think he's going to keep his seat. This polling is significant, but
yeah, imagine. A lot of people got to be thinking, imagine if Republican elites put as much effort into, spend as much time and money on doing things that conservatives actually want them to do as they do fighting with Matt Gaetz or picking off people they think are kooky like him. I think they'd be a more effective party, a more popular party with their own base, but alas.
Yeah, I think Matt Gaetz represents that sort of populist faction, McCarthy the more establishment faction of the party, and populism's alive and well in the United States, and I think that's going to have him keep his seat. I think they see this as, an attempt to slander him since the accusations are from 11 years ago.
Yes, indeed. All right, that does it for us today on Rising. We will be obviously watching the Democratic National Convention tonight, featuring the Obamas making an appearance. We'll have some reaction to that tomorrow. Of course, later in the week, we'll be watching for Tim Walz and Kamala Harris. In the meantime, be sure to like, share, and subscribe so you never miss any of our content. And for those of you who like to listen while on the go, we're now available anywhere you can find podcasts. We will see you back here tomorrow.
Bye.